Greetings and welcome to another Tribe Views episode. This is your boy, Tribe Delante, aka Tori Pierce, however you know me. But yeah, I'm going to be coming to you today to talk to you about, a slight little recap of what's been going on for the past 2 weeks since I skipped last week because of life going on. And I'm going to bring you, what's been going on in the podcast. And I'm also going to talk to you about just the high school part of my life, especially coming after my high school reunion. Nice little vibes, nice little get together, just great things overall. I just want to touch on these things overall, and that's going to be the encompassing idea of the episode. So let's get into it. So now, first thing I want to start with is Market Mondays from 2 weeks ago, episode 166. This was about the AI battle media stocks. And these are, some things I pulled from the Market Mondays of what was going on, some quotes that I'm going to give you that I think really sold the idea of what was going on in the episode. So we're going to start with, of course, the master investor, Ian Dunlap. He was talking about stocks and how it's being sold and marketed to people. And he was talking about how it doesn't really show out to us minorities and, just people of color or, people who aren't really in the wealth gap. Well, not the wealth gap, but in the wealth side of the world. He was basically saying when you find these stocks, be ready to want to hold them for at least 20 to 30 years to get a full good return. Now, of course, that comes down to researching and finding out which companies to actually hold for that long. But that's the main thing he was talking about. Just hold for 20 to 30 years, then you will be able to get rich beyond belief, quote unquote. That's what he said. Now, after that, just talking about stocks in general, they started to talk about crypto and how in the XRP world, well, not the world, but basically what was going on with XRP and how they had their case. He basically posed the question after the case was won in the favor of XRP. He basically posed the question about the environment, saying if XRP is not a security, does that mean the rest of tokens aren't securities? Just basically trying to figure out how they gonna financially rock with this sector. I don't know the right word to put what I want to say because it's on the tip of my tongue and I feel like I'm not saying the right word. But basically, he's just talking about how, if this is how the space is going to run, if this is what y'all decided on for XRP, then is that how this is going to be decided on for the entirety of the crypto market? So basically after that, Troy was just saying, after news of that case and news of the Microsoft case, he was saying Sony has a deal with Microsoft to basically keep Call of Duty on P5. Literally as the deal was closed, they closed another deal within the weekend, basically all right, the jig is up. We're going to have to apparently record. Well, not record, but we're going to have to apparently take another, take another deal because they won the lawsuit. So ain't no fighting no more. This is what we got to do. And you got to do what you got to do. You got to do what you got to do. And, piggybacking off of that, he was saying, and that poses us to look at other gaming companies that could possibly be up for sale. And they was talking about how some of these game companies could be EA or Take-Two, and EA's EA Sports, Madden, Football Club now because it's not FIFA anymore, and Take-Two, the owners of 2K and Grand Theft Auto, Rockstar. They own them two companies. So yeah, that's basically what was going on when they was talking about the video game cases and what's going on in that sector. And then after that, Rashad talked about, Earn Your Leisure. He talked about how Morgan Stanley estimates India will account for 20% of Apple's user growth. And this is coming from new infrastructure that they're building in India. And it's the second most populated country on earth, soon to be number one, which is China right now. And they say that's soon to be changing because as of right now, India's population is going up and China's population is going down. Take with that what you will. And hold on, let me see, is that And also from there, they had a congressman come on there from the House of Representatives of the 16th District of New York. They had Congressman Jamal Bowman, aka Rep Bowman. They had him come in there, and he was basically talking about some things that was going on in the what is the name of this? Oh yeah, in the name of the financial sector, basically, of what's going on. And he was talking about how recently, just with the Joe Biden case that just happened. Well, not the case, but the ruling of, them getting 803,000 borrowers were completely forgiven for their student loan debt, which is good, and that equates to about $39 billion in total. And he was just Representative Bowman was basically talking about like how this is a good start. Like, it's not really what they wanted. It's not the whole thing, but hey, some motion is better than no motion. So he was saying like, you got to start somewhere. And after that, he started to talk about the affirmative action and what's going on with that and how it pertains to people of color, Black people, most importantly. He was saying these prestigious institutions are the beacons of power in our country, not just from an educational perspective, but from an economical and political perspective. Like, it really means something in America when you say, yo, I went here, I went there, I went to Harvard, I went to Yale, some of the top schools that you could get into here. Like, it means something in certain circles when you can say, I went there and I graduated, of course, but you know how that is. So basically, he was saying no affirmative action leaves brilliant Black and Latino students without access to these institutions because of the ruling. Like, no access to these power centers. I don't want to say it's going to mess us up, but for people who still on that, should I say wavelength? For people who are still on that path of prosperity, yeah, I feel like that's good. People still on that path of prosperity, like it's gonna put a hindrance in their road. It's not gonna stop them. We know this if they really got their mind to it, but it's just another hindrance in the road. And he was saying, like, with them with them getting rid of affirmative action, he was saying, okay, well, since y'all want to do that, we have a bill that we are introducing to end legacy admissions because they basically disproportionately benefit white people, because 70% of legacy admissions in all of America are white people. So do with that information what you will. 70% is definitely a lot. It's more than 50, which is half. So, and basically, like, after talking about all of that, he kind of brought it together. And, he was talking about other things too, but he basically brought it all together to say that, like, the way white people have it set up, like, they have an entire infrastructure around their cultivation of wealth. And he was like, quote, they have a political infrastructure that's powerful. We as Black people have to build this infrastructure, unquote. And he was basically just saying like how everything they have set up has been set up for a long time, but it still had to be set up. So we need to pay attention, honestly. Look at the other side and be like, okay, this is infrastructure that is working. This is infrastructure that can help us, because our infrastructure is obviously not working. I mean, we can just look around and see. It's people learning, it's people being smart, but a majority of us, we gone. We gone. You just gotta be real. And he was just pushing it home, like, yo, we need to build this infrastructure. If we don't build this infrastructure, nobody will. If we don't invest in ourselves, nobody will. So just to swing that on back around to what we're always talking about here. So that was basically some of the main things I want to talk about from episode 166 of Market Mondays. It was a good one. I advise you to go watch it. I will have these links in my YouTube when they go up. And one thing I do want to say, on the topic of YouTube while we're on it. I will now be going live on YouTube. I know this is 10 minutes into the video, but I will now be going live on YouTube because it's gonna lend to my platform better. So I'm going through right now the verification and getting all that stuff done. So when that's through, like we're gonna be live on YouTube, and then then we'll start cutting to different different podcast sites. Get me on a hosting site, and then start putting my stuff out to podcasts, so I can just have the minutia of like putting my stuff out everywhere. So when it come time to, well, I ain't gonna say fully monetize, because I plan on monetizing as I go and getting better with all of these things and putting stuff where it need to be as I go. But I really want to get to the point where like all of this stuff before the money really start coming in is, I don't want to say easy, but it's habits. You know what I mean? Because you build good habits. Like when the money start coming in and the habits are already good, it's a nice little yin and yang you'll have going on. So yeah, just going forward, I will be going on YouTube. Like it's gonna make it better for everything I'm trying to do. Everything, it's just gonna make sense. It's gonna make sense. Trust me. It's a long road. It's a long road. Okay, so now I'm gonna talk about episode 167, which was about government, cryptos, and tech. And this is from this past week. Now I don't plan on this ever happening again, even though next week I'm probably gonna postpone this segment of the show until I can fully figure out how I want to do it. But the fact that I did a month straight, like it's not a lot, but it's enough to start with. So I'm gonna go back to the drawing board, figure out how I really want to do this, and then I'm gonna go from there. I won't be having a Friday show off for long, but really the main thing, I'm probably gonna bring it back after Invest Fest, because I am going. And I got VIP tickets too. So I plan on going up there, getting me some good content. Like it's gonna be good. I wanna pull out some crazy interviews. If I could pull out some crazy interviews, that'd be really, really nice. Like, that'd be really nice. All right, so like I said, episode 167, government, cryptos, and tech. First thing Ian got on talking about, well, not one of the first, well, the first thing I wanted to pull is when Ian was talking about the NASDAQ. He said, he was talking about like how 16,000, where it's at right now, is usually a good resistance area. And people are worried that the market went up so fast that they're anticipating a pullback. And he doubled down on, what he said from 166 for long-term holding. Like you want to be holding about 5 to 10 years, 5 to 10, 20 years. Like he then proceeded to explain that, a pullback in the 16 to 17,000 range is where he's expecting it, but that it's all depending on the earnings that are being reported. And right here, I wrote down some of the most important earnings that's around this time. I got Microsoft that was on the 25th. Google was also on the 25th. Meta was on the 27th. Apple's will be on the 3rd of this of the month coming up, August. Amazon is also on the 3rd. Nvidia will be on the 23rd of next month. That's kind of late. So, we just gonna deal, everybody know Nvidia is the big dog this year. So, when they drop theirs on the 23rd, it's gonna be highly it's gonna be a very important time in the financial world. So be on the lookout on the 23rd for the earnings call from NVIDIA. And we already had Tesla, that was the 19th of this month, and TSM, which was the 20th, the 20th of this month. So, and these were, oh yeah, and also we got Berkshire. Excuse me, we got Berkshire Hathaway, Warren Buffett's company. So basically, those were those companies I named. Those were part of the top 10 in the world right now, as according to an article that was wrote by Ali Ahmed of Insider Monkey. he basically had an article on there explaining the top 10 most valuable companies in the world by market cap, which was published on the 27th of July. Always remember, anything, no, not anything, anytime you are talking about financial news, like the most recent is important depending on what's going on. But always remember that not most important is going on, it's time sensitive. Any financial news is always time sensitive, no matter what's going on, good or bad, or even medium. Like when things are happening in the market, when money is being moved around, it matters what's going on. So understand that. Understand that. Ooh, okay. Yeah, we talked about the top 10. All right. Let me actually give you the top 10 right here. So the top 10 in the world by market cap is number 1 is going to be Apple. 2 is going to be Microsoft. 3 is going to be the Saudi Arabian oil company. You know how that is. Number 4 is going to be Alphabet Inc., which is Google and all of its conglomerates. Number 5 is going to be Amazon. 6 is Nvidia. 7 is Tesla. 8 is Meta. 9 is Berkshire Hathaway. And 10 is the Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company. Now, they're one of the top 10 companies in the world right now by market cap. So just be on the lookout, because in probably about 5 to 10 years, this could be not vastly different, but it could be different. Like from me paying attention and just seeing what's going on, I don't think Apple's leaving. I don't think Nvidia's leaving. I don't think Tesla or Amazon is leaving, or Google. Like we'll see how the top 10 goes on for the next 5, 10 years. Like this is going to be very interesting when we're looking at the top, just company landscape period. Like the next 5 to 10 years with all this AI and everything that's going on. Companies and the world is going to be vastly different. So we need to make sure we're paying very much attention to what's going on. Okay, and after all of that, yeah, he was, since we were talking about earnings, to double back on that, he was basically saying if better earnings are reported, it should push past the 16,700 level that we were talking about, where it's good resistance. We should push past there with no problem. But it all depends on these earnings calls, especially when the Nvidia one comes. So it's over a decent period of time, probably over a month total, where we getting all these earnings. So we'll be able to know what's going on going forward until we get ready for the next earnings call. So very important time in the investing world and the business world at this point. And main thing Ian wanted to touch on after that, he just was talking about like how if the market doesn't halt, there is nothing to worry about. Like, as long as money is still being moved, as long as everything is still being everything, like, then trading, stocks, all that stuff is it's gonna be all right. As long as money is still being moved, as long as moves are still being made, everything in the investing world is basically gonna be all right. So unless we see, like you say, unless we see the market halt, like come to a complete stop where nobody's making money, nobody has things in play, then there's really nothing to worry about. And I mean, it makes sense. It makes sense. Because if they still using it to make money, like, why should you stop? I mean, that just common. Well, no, not common sense, but it makes sense from a standpoint of if the billionaires and trillionaires are using this to make their money and they're still using it, then it must be viable to everybody else under them. I mean, it just makes sense. Like, you want to follow the people who are winning. Always remember that. Pay attention to the people who are winning. Follow the people who are winning. Follow the money. Follow the winners. Sound advice. I feel like that should be sound advice. And then just to wrap all of that up, After that, Troy of Earn Your Leisure, of course, basically brought it all together to say, basically year to date, the NASDAQ is up 35%. So like, you got to be able to take the ebbs and flows of investing. Like, if you did get in at the beginning of the year, you good. But if you got in, a little later or recently after the big up, like you got to be ready for it to, like we was talking about earlier, pull back. Like it just, you got to take the ebbs and flows of investing, like they said. So if you was in early and you rose up on that, then you feel good. But then this is where FOMO kicks in. If you see everybody like shoot 35% year to date, if you see everybody done went up like 30% in their portfolio, or 30% in certain places in their portfolio, and you like, well, dang, shoot, I want to catch it. And even if you did catch it at the 30, like you only got 5%, and you may be thinking like, bro, I only got 5%, that ain't nothing. But shoot, you got in and you started. And some people may have got in after the 35% and then they experienced some of the drop. So yeah, like Troy was saying, man, you got to take the ebbs and flows of investing, because you could be the person who gets in when the money goes up, or you can be the person that get in when the money go down, or you can alternate during your, investing journey. You never really know how investing is going to go, but that's why you want to at least start, get your money in, do your research, figure out what's going on, which is fundamentals, and then, try to do a little technical, understanding some of your technicals too. So if you're seeing certain things on chart work, you can be like, okay, maybe I don't want to get in right here because of the way the chart looked. So, but that's just me coming from looking at investing also from a standpoint of, I've been trading on the charts for years. So all chart work is interchangeable. Well, not, yeah, all chart work is interchangeable. If you can read one chart, one financial chart, you can read them all. And it all has to do with Japanese candlesticks. And that's just, something you can look forward to when you get into this world of investing in chart work and trading, option trading, forex trading, all of that stuff. Like all of that stuff all comes under one roof. Like if you can understand candlesticks and technical analysis in one market, you can understand it in all markets. And that's one thing I think is very important about the financial markets, is because if you can learn one market, you've basically learned them all. And of course, they all move differently in the market, and they provide different setups and different ways to get in and different ways to get out. But that's just the way it is. Like if you can read one, you can read them all. So I highly advise you, like if you ever decide to get into investing or, trading, day trading, stock trading, like if you figure one out, you basically figure it out for all of them. Yeah, it just makes sense. So that's just me coming from where I'm coming from. Like I feel like if you're gonna be day trading, or day trading or stock trading or like forex trading, like I feel like you should be dibbling, dabbling. You should dibble and dabble in more than one. Because if you know one, you like, the basic framework, the basic framework of one, the basic framework of the other one. And you go off the industry and how things move differently, but technical analysis is technical analysis. So I always remember that. And those are the main things I want to talk about from Market Mondays. And after that, I wanted to talk to you about Trapping Tuesdays, episode 52, A New Movement. Wall Street was really in his bag on this one. He was really in his bag on this one. He started it off with such just powerful speaking. Like, you really need to watch that episode. Episode 52. It's called A New Movement, Trapping Tuesdays. Even if you just watch the beginning, 20, 30 minutes, trust me, it'll change you. It'll light a fire in you. Like it'll do something right for you. Trust me, it'll work. Now, it's crazy because it was so good. I didn't even really want to pull anything from it that much, but I felt like I had to pull something from it to make you feel like, well, no, to, provide you with some context of what he was talking about, what's really going on. And yeah, just give you some of the things I pulled, because I highly advise you to actually look at it. Like, I was so enamored with it. But, let me go ahead and get on. One thing I will pull from is that he showed that AT&T has now hit the same price it was 30 years ago, $13. He added into, I think, dang, I don't forgot his category name. I think it's called Flush or Keep. And I know he basically said, hey, you need to flush AT&T. The dividend don't matter. It's just not a good company. Just cut it, man. Let it go. AT&T, man, you gotta let it go. And it's crazy because I've been telling my friends, anybody who get AT&T internet, I'd be like, bruh, why choose AT&T? There's so many other places to choose. And they just be like, hey, man, it is what it is. But, I ain't gonna be the dead horse. And main thing Trap was talking about on his episode 52, he was saying, man, every stock isn't to hold for 20 to 30, 10, 20, 30 years. Like, you need to take advantage of the now. You need to get in when you can get in and fit in when you can fit in. If you peep, like as we talked about on a earlier episode that Trap talked about on I think episode 51, like once a business gives you the signs that it's not a good, profitable business anymore, you need to let it go. So that's why he was basically talking about taking advantage of the now. Like, if you can get in a good company that's in good standing, that's in good growth right now, then take that. Like, you ain't gonna always be able to get in Apple 20 years, 30 years, like, at the jump and be able to ride 20, 30 years. You may just be able to get in at the halfway mark, 10 years. But hey, if you've been holding Apple stock for 10 years, I'm pretty sure you're more happier than, people who didn't hold their stock. So it just, like Troy said, it's about taking the ebbs and flows of investing. Like being able to get in when you get in and fit in when you fit in. If you can get in and make some money and you can get in and hold for a decent long time, then why not do it? Even if it is just $10, $15, a week, every paycheck, or, however you want to do it. Like, it's going to make money over time. So yeah, Trap was talking about taking advantage of it now. And then he was, just to piggyback off that, he was saying, just because the stock is cheap doesn't mean it's worth the investment. So like, he made a decent joke about like how, shoot, there's folks out here selling fake Gucci belts for $2, and they selling it to you. They're basically $2 to make. They selling to you for 50. It's a come up. That AT&T stock is a come up, because if them folks, flip and everything go down, shoot, they made some money on their way down. Instead of them just going down, crashing and burning, they crashing and burning with a little water on them. I guess that's how you can kind of look at it, like with a little dousing of the flames, but it's still in flames. So, man, that's crazy though. But after that, he was talking about like how the Amazon cloud, well, not the Amazon cloud, but yeah, in the cloud space, the Amazon cloud is where they dominate. They are number one in the cloud space as of now. Their revenue for this past year was 80.1 billion, up 29% versus 2021. And that's crazy because I never even knew Amazon was on the cloud like that. Like, I knew Amazon had some cloud work, but I didn't know they was number one in the space, up making 80 billion in the cloud space. That's really crazy when you think about all the other clouds that are out there. So Amazon, once again, in they sector, they killing it. Then last thing I pulled from that Trapping Tuesday was how he talked about the 10 biggest companies companies that collectively spent the most in research and development in 2022, which came up to 222 billion. He had Amazon, Nvidia, Google, Meta, Apple, Microsoft, AVGO, ASML, Tesla, and Pepsi. And these were, yeah, he talked about like how research and development, like actually finding out what's going on in your sector and figuring out, development of more products. Like he was explaining like how if they spending money in R&D, then they're basically spending money on growth. And depending on the company and depending on the sector where it is, you want to see good R&D spending because that means, like he just said, it's going to lead to more growth. And in your stocks, you want growth because more growth means more worth for your money. And shoot, just better asset, like things just look better, look better for the future when like we can look in the earnings reports and see, well, not earnings reports, but basically like see that these folks is like spending money on trying to get better. Like they're not just pocketing the money and spreading it between everybody or, just giving it to you in a dividend. Like they showing you like, hey, we spending this much money on trying to get better. And you always want to, like he was saying though, that's why you want to go watch it. But he was basically saying like, this is why you want to be paying attention to them companies that's spending good on R&D in the right sectors because it just means growth if done correctly. But this also goes into doing your research on the company because if a company's not looking good and they spending money on R&D, it's like, it's more of a risk than a company that's already in good standing spending money on R&D. Like you already know they good for the most part. But yeah, and after he talked about the companies that spent the most on R&D, he talked about the biggest buybacks that are happening right now. And the biggest buybacks from the 10 companies are going to be at Apple, Google, Microsoft, Meta, WMT, PFE, PG, the Bank of America, KMI, and Texas Instruments. Now, he also broke down like how, like how we were saying, research and development, means more growth. Well, buybacks, stock buybacks, basically increases like the, I don't want to explain it wrong. I got it. Lord, forgive me. But basically he was saying like the biggest buyback mean like it's increasing the value of the stock basically because there's less of it. So it's more of a supply and demand thing. So like if there's that many shares out there and they worth this much, if the company buys some back, like yeah, they basically like buying some of their company back, but they basically increasing the worth of what's out there because now there's less supply. Yeah, there's less supply out there because they bought some of it back. So that means the ones that you have out right there become worth more because the demand just went up because the supply went down, like automatically. Like that's just how it go. So yeah, you always want to look for companies that are doing good buybacks too. So yeah, them some of the most important things he talked about when he was going over companies' financials. Like, yeah, you want to do your research, figure out good companies, but are they spending good money on research and development, R&D, for later growth down the line? And are they ever in a position to do stock buybacks? And if they do, how much are they doing to drive up the price of the stocks that are already available? And yeah, that's the main thing for the recap, dog. It's some other things I'm gonna start doing for this recap. Because I want to keep putting them outlaws and scholars in there. But I was just doing research, just researching, going back and listening to everything like so much for the past week, man. I'm just trying to figure out how to get all of this down, like in a compact schedule, in a compact time. So I'm not just, I won't say I'm wandering with my time, but because I don't want this to be too long. I don't want it to be too long. I wanted to see, like right now, it's about at like 35 minutes. I want it to be between 45 and 50 minutes. I feel like, yeah, by the time I make it to the end of the year, I'll be able to command a whole hour efficiently because I'm still seeing them messing up here and there. I'm still pausing too much, and you know I'm dolo, so I ain't got nobody to really bounce ideas off of. But hey, you can only get better if you keep doing. And right now, these is reps. So that's what we're gonna look at them as. They reps. So we're gonna keep getting these reps in. And that was the main thing about the recap. And now I'm gonna get into, a slight little story time about my, some things that went on in high school. I wanted to talk about, the very first episode of the recapping show. I talked about, my life leading up, basically from K to ninth grade. So now I want to talk about from ninth grade to basically graduating, like to the best of my ability, because some of it is kind of hazy. I don't remember. Yeah, I want to say I don't remember as well as K through 8, because I don't know, it feels like high school was just like very close together. It feels like all 4 of them years damn near happened together. But yeah, so basically, let's get into it, man. Ninth grade, I started at reading, and I was there at reading, I want to say probably about, for the first 9 weeks, they was on block. I remember it, life was good. I ain't gonna lie to you. Ooh, hey, reading was nice. In, what was that, 2009? Yeah, that's when I checked in high school, man. 2009 reading. Ooh. It was a moment. Definitely a moment in time. I enjoyed my time there. And craziest thing about my time there while I was there, in accelerated math, basically like high advanced math, and in DeKalb County, I basically had 100% past the 9 weeks. I had a full-blown 100. Like, still to this day, that's so crazy to me that I held a perfect score in a math class for 9 weeks. Like, hey, I know coming up, or even now, like we can look back and be like, okay, yeah, school wasn't the most important, or they didn't really teach us what they could have taught us. But man, to be perfect in anything past 9 weeks, hey man, don't let anybody tell you that if you was good at school or academia that it didn't, what, if you learned from it, if you actually paid attention to life and not just school when you was doing these things, then you will know. Like, bro, you actually did something. Like, something, even if it is a sham. Like, hey, you aced the sham. If it is cap, hey, you aced the cap. Like some people, I don't know. I mean, it's give or take. It's either or, but I just think that was, like, I always look back on that. I always use the bars that I've set for myself, and it's good to be able to look back and be like, okay, I know I can do this because should I've done it before. I've been perfect in something that was given to me over 9 weeks. Over 9 weeks. And that's not easy. It don't matter what it is. Anybody who can do something basically that's great about somebody else perfection, like perfectly over 9 weeks. Like, bro, hey, it is what it is. But yeah, so that was going on 9 weeks, all of that. And then I think it was this year, but yeah, it was a study that came out that basically said Gwinnett was like the best school system in America at that point. And when that happened, and my mom peeped that we was basically right down the street from Gwinnett, she was like, well, I'm going to take this opportunity to put my son somewhere where he can thrive, somewhere where he can shine, somewhere that's basically the top school district in America right now. I mean, looking back now, I ain't no parent yet, but looking back now, if I was a parent and I was right next door to the best school system, and that's what I'm still on, then why would I not take that opportunity to put my son in the best possible position to succeed? So shout out to Dukes, because you definitely did look out for that. And I will say one of the funniest things about the whole thing was I remember transferring to Shiloh. I remember as we were getting ready to go there, you was like, Are you ready to go to school with the white people? Then we get there and it was dang near blacker than reading. No, that's something I'll never forget, man. Ooh, but yeah, then it starts. Shiloh High School, ninth grade. Oh boy, it seems like it was all a blur and it all seems like it wasn't. But man, yeah, I got there, met some people, ninth grade year that I just seen at the 10-year reunion, and it just, ooh, where it just drives it home is full circle, man. Like I really met some people there, like some real genuine people there that I could talk about life with, look back on life at, and just be like, yo, we done came a long way, because ninth grade, man, oof, ninth grade was crazy. But yeah, ninth grade, just me getting into Shiloh, me becoming acclimated to what's going on out here that's different from DeKalb County. It was definitely an experience. Definitely an experience, especially getting over there and losing my 100 in my math class immediately and dealing with a teacher who basically was the opposite of my teacher in DeKalb County, because my teacher in DeKalb County basically didn't give me homework because he said, yo, you're passing everything with 100. Like you know the material. I'm not finna make you do homework just to make myself feel better. I don't feel like I need to give you homework because you're not feeling nothing. And I was like, he kind of spoiled me, because I get over there and I get this teacher, man. She is just hell bent on giving out homework and just being a stickler. Like, you know, them kind of teachers that's just, they just mean, especially being now that I'm an adult. I know that some of them teachers and people choose to be mean. They choose to be ignorant. They choose to give a lot of kids work because they don't view, you know, unless it's like real learning stuff, like apparently they don't view children time as valuable. Like it's so much other stuff, looking back now, so much other stuff kids should be doing other than homework. Like, yeah, you know, look, homework's good, probably about something that'll take you up to an hour at home. But stuff that, unless it's like a project, you know, something you build over time, like some stuff, it's kind of crazy what they'll make you do. You know, what they used to be having us doing in grade school. But yeah, just long story short, I ended up with a C in math after getting out there. But it is what it is. I was still basically in the advanced classes when I got out there because, yeah, just I was pretty smart. I paid attention, and so yeah, they put me they put me in them decent, you know, the good classes for the ones I could get in. And yeah, that's mostly what I can pull from ninth grade. Yeah, man, started at reading, transferred to Shiloh, and man, definitely a time where I met lifelong friends. And then 10th grade, I want to say, is when, yeah, I was fully immersed into like the Gwinnett lifestyle, you could say. Like I was in my sport. I played football. But I think 10th grade, I messed around with wrestling a little bit. It's either 10th or 11th grade. I know I messed around with wrestling. And just regardless, ever since middle school, apparently, I've always been in band. And band, oh man, I love me some band. But yeah, just 10th grade was when basically I got fully acclimated, fully like in friendships, actually doing stuff with my friends, not just seeing them at school and, you know, talking at school, but we're actually doing stuff outside of school. And that's when the community aspect of school really started building with me, was in high school and doing stuff outside of structured activities. Cause I mean, even in middle school, you had park ball and, you know, certain stuff after school where you may see some students that you know, or, you know, from a different school. But being, you know, fully acclimated and going to your high school, doing stuff with your high school friends, like going to going to McDonald's after school, getting, you know, just chilling together, just living life, man. It really started to kick in 10th grade. Like in Ooh, now we get into 11th grade. I might say the main thing I got from 11th grade that I want to pull was, man, I had to make a very important decision about band, because basically what had been going on is if you was in band class, you was basically in the marching band. But I was one of the only exceptions in my teacher's class. And basically what he used to do was, well, not what he used to do, basically what happened in 11th grade was he looked at me. He called me to his office. He looked at me. He was in his most serious and realest way he said it. He was like, yo, I'm going to be real with you. You're too smart and too good in basically music for me not to have you on my marching band. So in me saying this, I'm giving you a choice. It's either you choose marching band or you choose football. And if you choose football, I have to kick you out of marching band class. Like this quarter. And I never forget, man, that was one of the first times in life I had to make a real executive decision. And bro, I chose football, and that man kicked me out of band. That's crazy. Even looking back now, that's crazy. But it was a very important life lesson. He showed me like, yo, it's gonna come a time in life where you have to make decisions. And you're gonna have to stand on your decision. Cause I couldn't even get back in band. But yeah, that was just really important in my life because it showed me early. Like, bro, it's gonna come times in life where you got two options and you have to choose one and you have to stand on it. And he showed me that early. And I hate to kick me out of band because that was definitely my favorite elective, but it showed me something that actually has stood with me, has stood the test of time. That, hey man, choices are some of the most important things you will do with your time on earth, man. The choices you make. So yeah, and other than that, like, yeah, I don't think anything significant really happened ninth grade. I mean, and you know, that's the best thing about just doing this right now. So it's in the beginning. So that way later on in life, or not even later on in life, but later on period, in this whole career of everything, people can go back and look and be like, oh, you said this and that. Shoot, did you want to expound on this? Did you want to expound on that? It's just going to be easier going forward, having this benchmark right here where I can always pull from. But yeah, I'm getting off topic though. That's future talk. But yeah, that was mostly what was going on in 11th grade. In 12th grade, man, I want to say 12th grade, it was a full-blown enjoyment of school. Like, I want to say it was a lot of stuff that went on senior year, man, that I fully enjoyed. Like, we actually went on some field trips. I had some good classes. Like, and it was just a whole good vibe around the whole school. And yeah, man, 2013, I graduated, man. And I'll never forget how happy my entire family was. Man. Whew, boy. And now it has been 10 years since I've graduated high school, which is still crazy to say out loud. Because it feels like it's so crazy how life is, man. You know, years have gone by, and in your head, man, some of that stuff feel like yesterday. Like some of the things you can see in your memory bank feel like yesterday. But you was a whole different person. Like, oh man. But yeah, this concludes the third episode of Tribe View Shawty. Yes, sir. This concludes the third episode. We covered Market Mondays, some Trapping Tuesdays. Now, for the last one, I will be saying this because I am going to Invest Fest and I am going to Trapping Tuesdays in the month of August. Now, after these two events, I want to say I want some of my stuff to basically be better. So I will be taking a hiatus for, a month to figure out what's going on and then go to Invest Fest. And I'm going to come back like basically new. I'm going to come back brand new with this. Like we still going to be moving on to episode 5, but episode 4, we're going to take a hiatus. We're going to figure out how I can make this better. And now, yeah, we're going to figure out how to make this better. Because I want to make this better. And the only way to get better is to do reps. And the only way to find out if my reps are getting better is to have it out there to be consumed if the opportunity presents itself. So yeah, man, that is it. Thank y'all for being here with me. Please tune in to the next episode because after that episode, we will be taking a break. So you don't want to miss the 4th episode, the one before the break, the one that I really want to be my best one so far. Because right now I feel like my first episode of Tribe Views, my first one is the best. But I'm getting better with my Monday shows. So, hey man, we'll figure all that out. But like I said, man, it was your boy Tribe Delante. Y'all have a good one.